Welcome to This Week in College Hockey. Tony Scott with Jess Myers and Sydney Wolf. We're back in the studio. We have college hockey games, strings of college hockey games to discuss.
Conference games
To discuss.
Games.
We have NPI to discuss. We have Augustana. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about. Who wants to go first here? Where you've been and how you've been lately. Sid, you want to go first?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it last week, but it was pretty brief because I was trying to say, what did we do over the last few weeks that wasn't hockey, since I know we all did.
Oh, my God.
Mostly still hockey-related stuff. I don't know. The last week I've just been doing 1,000 things, so I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you.
All right, and you've been to L.A.,
I went to Southern California, saw the Wild play 3 games out there. They went 1-1-1. Nice.
Explain that to me now. Like the back-to-back, Ryan and I were at a wedding, and it was like they play back-to-back Kings. That seems pretty odd to me.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I talked to friends of mine with the pro teams out there, the Ducks and the Kings. Right. And to a certain extent,
happen?
San Jose, with the West Coast teams. According to a friend of mine, the NHL has kind of been pushing for this idea of play 2-game series. Go out to LA, play 2 games. Go out to San Jose, play 2 games for travel reasons. I get that. It makes sense that way, okay? What I saw, and here's why the teams out there don't like the idea, the Wild play in Los Angeles Saturday night. Big crowd, Star Wars night, good game, goes to a shootout, yada, yada, yada. They play the same team 2 nights later, Monday night in LA, nobody's there. Because if you're a casual hockey fan, you say, well, I saw Minnesota 2 nights ago. I don't, what's interesting about that? That's kind of the pushback there. So the whole college hockey 2-game series thing, it doesn't work in the NHL. At least not from what I saw.
I see what you did there. You brought it back to college hockey.
Yeah.
Well done. Well played.
Because that's the world we're used to.
Yeah.
You play back-to-back nights.
But, okay, here's a dumb question. If, like the Minnesota Wild, for example, they have a season ticket base of 15,000. It seems like every game is close to sold out, if not sold out.
Yep.
They don't have that luxury in Los Angeles or Orange County.
I mean, it's crazy to think about that because Los Angeles has 12 million people or something like that.
Not exactly hockey country.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, I this kind of struck me during the pregame hype video that every team does. I hadn't thought about this. The Los Angeles Kings, 1967, were the first team born in Los Angeles. Everybody else moved there from somewhere else. The Rams were in Philadelphia or Cleveland or someplace like that. The Dodgers were obviously in Brooklyn. Everybody else was a transplant. The Lakers were in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
The Kings were the first team to say we're a Los Angeles
And they've never
team.
left.
And they've never left, yeah.
That's our hot take. Good hot take.
Yep.
Nice.
I was all over the place. I've been into Colorado for Christmas. I've been to Warroad and Roseau. I've been to the World Juniors as a fan and as a journalist.
You said that wrong. You've been to Warroad and then to the suburbs of Warroad.
There we go. Right. And I was at the World Juniors as a fan and as a journalist, and then I ran a girls tournament subsequent with the boys tournament following that, and it's just been a whirlwind last 21 days, and it feels like we're a little bit back to normal until we go to Bemidji on Friday, and then it gets back to crazy again. So
Yeah. It's starting to be that time of year. I think we all are feeling it a little bit with hockey of like, okay, it's starting to get a little crazy now.
A little hockey school.
Around break.
It is hockey time. All right, so where are we starting here, Sid?
Well, you said before we started recording that you really wanted to start with St. Cloud.
Yeah, I'm a short-time visitor on the show today. I got to talk about the Huskies.
Okay, well, I moved them up then.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Because you're like neurotic when it comes to them. Like you're like,
well,
you're so hot
highs
and cold.
Lows.
You said once on the show a few weeks ago, if they don't get a split with North Dakota, then they suck, and I don't want. I'm never going to watch them again.
I did not say that.
I'm never going to watch them again. Something like that.
I don't think I said that.
But, I'm like, wow, this really gets to her. It brightens her, darkens her day.
It's up and down.
Since I last saw you, Cactus Cup champions.
Well, yeah,
Cactus
but look
Cup.
who was in the Cactus Cup.
Hey, wins are wins, right? Hey, Minnesota State was in the Cactus Cup. They don't have a Cactus Cup title.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Okay.
They lost right
You know,
away.
they had a great weekend last weekend. I mean, the Huskies
do
are
we know,
back.
Do we know when the banner raising ceremony is?
When is it?
For the
I want to
Cactus
know.
Cup.
When,
Yeah.
when can we get up there?
I'll be there. I'll be
That'd
there for
be
the
sweet.
Cactus Cup. Yes.
I
So-
wish I could have gone to the Cactus Cup, but I think I told Jess this last time that I realized that puck drop for their game would have been like 9 p.m. Central Time. I was
listen-
like, yeah, it's
hey,
not going to work with a
I
toddler.
listened to the show. I may not have been in the show, but I did listen to you
Okay,
guys'
okay.
show. I did enjoy it.
So
So,
you're,
Okay.
you're boosting our ratings, even if you're
I
not.
am.
Wow.
I know.
Even if you're not a
I
participant.
listened to the show.
like
I'm
it.
only on for a short time today, so I did
Yeah.
want to get if I did get
Cameo
any,
appearance by Tony
if I
Scott.
did get anything, I want to get your take on this split with UNO because I
Yeah.
think that the Huskies have a legitimate shot of getting into the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to tell. I feel like when they're on, they do look really good and they do have good pieces, but then there's some games that are just hard to watch.
You saw the UNO game, or the
So
Friday
the
game.
Friday game, the first period, you're like, oh, this is feeling great. They're up 2-0. You're like, wow, I feel pretty good about
And
this.
then they give up the next
And
six.
then
Six.
they give up the next 6. And I turned it off. And everybody online was like, wow, that was just one of those games where it just snowballs and it's over. And then Saturday, it felt a little bit better. And it's just kind of hard to tell right now. I don't know. I think when they get Tanner Hendricks back, I'll be excited. I think he's close. I've heard he's close
That would be a big get.
because I know he's been out for a while. I don't know. Why did you want to talk about them so much? Are
Well,
you feeling good?
No, I'm kind of skirting my alma mater a little bit. So
Okay.
they're so bad. I'm hoping to put them as far back.
You're trying to run
Yeah.
out the clock. Is what
I'm
you're
running out the
Yeah.
clock so I don't have to talk about how bad the Gophers are.
Okay.
That was last year when I dogged the Gophers. This year I'm trying to prop them up a little bit, and there's nothing to prop.
Last
Yeah.
year when they won a share of the Big Ten title, you were dogging them? Okay.
Yes, it was,
All right.
it's the reverse. I was doing the reverse psychology.
Sure.
Ryan fell for it, hook, line, sinker.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
I was like, oh, they're not that good. They're not that good, you know. But this year, I'm trying to prop them up a little bit. And I watched Friday. I mean, that game, it felt like 4.5 hours. I'm like, please get
Yeah.
over. Please get over. Thankfully, I wasn't available to watch the second game. I kept tabs on it when I was at the Wild game Saturday. And it was the same thing. It just seems like they're anemic.
So you just want to hype up the teams that you think are still
Correct. I mean,
still
I
in
mean,
it.
after that Lindenwood sweep, I mean, UMD, I mean, they look like world
Yeah.
beaters.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good teams this year.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, and I know we're skipping ahead here.
No, you're good.
Okay, the poll people,
Yeah.
UMD swept Lindenwood, and you drop them in the poll. Seriously? Come on. What do you have to
We've
do?
already said the poll on this show is iffy.
I mean,
Polls are polls.
so
Man.
you win twice, and that hurts you somehow. I don't get it. And you know, Sydney, you heard my
Yes.
confession last week. I admit it. I was wrong. They're not the top team in the NCHC.
I heard that one too. I heard that.
I will crown the Fighting Hawks for now. A lot of hockey left to be played.
Yeah.
But I have never understood the idea that somebody won twice but we got to drop them for that. I don't get it. You know,
I
the
don't
kids
know.
don't make the schedule. I know Lindenwood is not a top 10 team, anything like that. They're under a first-year coach. They're a relatively new program. But what can you do other than win the games on your schedule?
yeah.
I'm at a loss.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. It didn't hurt their NPI. That's really what. At the end of the day, that it didn't get hurt.
I
So-
guess, yeah.
So who cares?
Nobody's hanging a banner
Who
about,
cares?
where they ranked on
Yeah.
January 10th.
And really, like, I still don't believe the Big Ten is as strong as they appear in the polls. I don't find that. I
Yeah, things are
And
kind of
this
starting
is
to
that-
balance out.
This is that time of year, and Bob Motzko talks about this, where the Big Ten teams all just start to beat up on each other,
right.
and all the other leagues sit back and watch. Oh, that's fun. Let's watch. Notre Dame beat up on Michigan or whatever it happens to be. So yeah.
Pull up UMD's schedule because today on our Monday morning commute, Joe Moline goes, "Listen to this 3-week
Oh, the
stretch
end?
for
Yeah.
UMD. They literally go
rough.
something like Western Michigan,
It's
North,
St. Cloud this
North
weekend,
Dakota. Yeah, after St. Cloud, they go Western Michigan, North Dakota, Denver, or something like that.
It's-
Like, wow,
The
that is
back half of the
tough.
NCHC is a gauntlet. And I say that
Yeah.
too because speaking of St. Cloud too, someone tweeted that
Yeah, see the look on his face.
oh yeah, isn't it bad?
2 at home versus 2 at St. Cloud this weekend. That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
no pushover because that's
no, yeah.
those.
It's always a good series.
Yeah, if there's one team Brett Larson wants to beat, it's the one that he played for and has a national championship ring from. 2 at home against Western Michigan. Okay, they're pretty good, I've heard.
They're very good.
Maybe.
at Denver. The
Yeah.
altitude is a factor, and then the fact that Denver's really good is a factor, and then North Dakota at home. Oh boy!
Yeah, it's which they
Wow.
call
It's brutal.
don't they call that English?
And then, in fairness, the last two at Miami, and then home versus Colorado College. So, even if things go
that's a
terribly in that 8-game
rough-
stretch, that's
Yeah, but that's kind of nice, though, because the last few years, everyone always likes to say between Bulldogs and Huskies fans, it feels like St. Cloud and Duluth always played the last series of the season, and then they'd always meet in the NCHC quarterfinals, and then go all 3 games, and then it was like they played 5 games.
want to
back-to-back.
kill each other.
Can I tell?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Just a quick story?
We should have like a little sponsor for this.
This just
Jess's
seems
story
like the time
time.
for this story.
Brought
Since
to you
we're talking-
by.
Yeah.
We're talking Bulldogs and Huskies. We're talking, Brett Larson, all that. So 2018, UMD wins the national championship. They beat Notre Dame. Still amazed by that because that Notre Dame team was one of the
Very
truly
good.
great teams I've ever seen. Quinn Hughes, by the way, I mentioned his freshman year ended at what is now Grand Casino Arena in the Frozen Four semifinals against. He's playing for Michigan against Notre Dame. And I said, didn't Notre Dame score with like 30 seconds left? He said, no, Notre Dame scored with 3 seconds left.
No.
He said 30 seconds would have been a dream.
Yeah.
Anyway, so UMD wins the national championship. They celebrate on Sunday, all of that. Bob Motzko has already taken the Minnesota job. So there's an opening at St. Cloud State.
Oh yeah.
The equipment manager for UMD is going to go on vacation Monday morning, so he's in his car driving down to the Twin Cities. Happens to come up on Brett Larson's car, who's also heading south on 35,
Yep.
somewhere around Cloquet. And Larson tells me this story. He looks over and he sees the equipment guy, and the equipment guy mouths the words to him, "I know where you're going." He was obviously going to St.
Wow.
Cloud
Yeah.
for the job, which he eventually got. So anyway,
Yeah,
there's
it
my
was.
story.
That was a wild couple days, especially. And from my journalistic perspective, I started barking out that Bob was here, and people like they don't know. St. Cloud fans hated me, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So then that happened. Then like 2 days later, freaking Brett to St. Cloud. This is unfounded. It can't be true. I'm like, it just so happens that I know the agent for all these people.
Yeah.
And the agent saw, I was like, just giving you a little something. This is going to happen in the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
Boom, it happens. And
That's such a weird time, though. Any coaching change? I mean, Tony and I are Iowa State dads.
yeah.
They've just gone through a football coaching
Oh, the worst.
coaching change, and honest to God, it's like you not only lose the coach, you lose half your
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
46 guys from Iowa State went in the transfer portal. It's just insane.
It's so
not
sad.
just we'll get a new coach and we'll start over. It's literally starting a new program. The
Yeah.
way things work now.
Yeah.
It is. Football's way worse. Hopefully that doesn't happen in hockey, where they're just like, I'm going to bring all my guys. And Hastings did a little bit of that.
You do
I
see
felt
that.
Mankato.
You do
Yeah.
see that to a certain extent. I mean, there were when Motzko went to the Gophers, not so much players, but a lot of recruits. That had
Recruits, for sure.
committed to St. Cloud. All of a sudden, Bryce Brodzinski
Brodzinski.
winds up in
Yeah.
Minnesota. All of a sudden, players that were bound to go to St. Cloud are like, well, you know what? Maybe. Yeah.
I always start to note that in the transfer portal too now in like my notables column. It's like, oh, if this player originally was recruited by this person who's now over here, it's a pretty good chance they might go over there.
And I'll say this too: credit North Dakota, because there wasn't a ton of that with the coaching change
Yeah,
they
they
went
did
through
pretty
last
good.
year.
No.
Dane Jackson did a pretty good job of maintaining his guys. And, the recruits that they
Yeah.
had lined up, and part of it was part of the
And
same
they had already
system.
lost Sasha, right?
Yeah, but it sounds like too
I
when we
can't
were
pronounce that
talking
guy's
about
last
that
name.
whole
Boisvert?
situation, like all of those guys were already
Gone.
going regardless of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at with
Well,
the
speaking of coaching changes too, as of 15 minutes ago, former Wild coach Dean Evison relieved in Columbus.
Really?
Just saw that, so thought it's breaking news, I guess.
I
on
like
the
that
podcast.
guy.
I
Ry-
liked
Ryan's face in the back.
Dean was a good guy. I mean, it still is
I
a good
liked
guy.
him.
Yeah, I always love watching Dean on TV when he's fired up about stuff. It's
Yeah,
always fun
but
to watch
hey,
those,
it's a tough business.
Yeah, it
I
is,
mean, hey,
but-
we end of October. We were having this conversation about the coach of the Wild. They had won 3 of their first 12 games, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, you're not going to fire Kirill Kaprizov. You're paying him $17 million. With all the signings you've made, you're going to have to do something, and that's just
So,
the
random
way it works.
tangent, but thought I'd throw that in there.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
But
We're all hockey heads here.
Yeah.
We opened one of our pods a couple weeks ago with Quinn Hughes. Like what
yeah.
where were you when you found out kind of stuff? Because it's
Yeah.
big. We're hockey people. We don't have to just talk about college. We want to talk about
Yeah.
whatever.
Quinn Hughes' 2 college hockey seasons ended in Minnesota. How about that note?
Yeah.
One of them at Grand Casino Arena, one of them at Marriott.
Was that on last week's show? I swear I
Yeah,
heard you
yeah,
say
yeah,
this.
yeah.
All right, 'cause
Maybe
I-
I'm repeating myself.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
were, but I was like, maybe I heard that someplace because I hear you other places too. Like maybe it was someplace else. All
Well,
right.
with college hockey too, from the show for here on out through the season, I'm putting the NPI rank and their conference rank next to the team, so we can
Right.
kind of each week go, okay, what changed? So just since we were already talking about St. Cloud, since they split with UNO, the scores were 6-2 and then 2-1, if I didn't say them before. So their NPI rank right now is 19. They move up
They're
1.
close.
So they're not
close.
in,
No,
but
but
it's
they're-
still not like season over yet, technically.
No.
But
Gophers season over.
work to do, and their NCHC rank not great, 6. So that could be improved upon, but the NCHC is always tough. But
Right.
a little more info just on that weekend. We already talked about Friday a little bit. Barrett Hall, Gavin Thorson both score Friday. Saturday, Barrett Hall has the game-winning goal in the third. So he had a big weekend. One guy for UNO, I forgot that UNO, like almost all their team is like from Quebec.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
listening to the announcers, I'm like, oh, I forgot about this. And they have all these guys from U Sports, which I never know how they're gonna.
Where they're from,
Fit in?
actually. Yeah.
They had a guy who had a goal and 2 assists Friday. I looked it up, played 5 years in the queue, and then went to U Sports, and now is at Nebraska Omaha. And I'm just like, oh my God, 5 years?
5 years of major junior.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Talk about this is where you're gonna lose your confidence. Play 5 years of major
like
junior.
I'm looking him
Dump
up right
it
now.
in. Dump it in.
Maxime Pellerin
There you go.
from
There's your
Victoriaville played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the queue. Same team every year.
God, he must have been a glue guy.
And then McGill University, and now Nebraska Omaha.
He goes to the
That
best
is
school in the country.
It's a journey. It's
So-
a journey. But that's St. Cloud, so got work to do, but still they're 11-11, so we'll see. Gophers, Tony, your
We
favorite
could
team
just
right
skip
now.
right past that. They were swept. I think
Yeah.
everybody listening to the show knows they were swept, and we had
Swept
scored.
by Penn
they scored
State.
2 whopping goals in 2 games.
It was Zemer and Moore with the lone goals. NPI rank 36, they drop 4. Big Ten rank, they're 5th, they drop 1. I'm just gonna say this, if you're having goaltending issues, people are not happy with Airy on the internet that I saw. Why not
No.
just throw in Zach Weiss for a few minutes? Like,
Give him a shot.
why not? If it's already like you're not winning,
There's no chance.
I'm the kind of
After
person
how
where I'm
Bob-
like, just throw him in. Just is he that bad? Like, just throw
After
him in
what
for
Bob
a few
did
minutes.
in World Juniors, I don't think it's going to happen
Like,
twice.
if the game is so bad, just throw him in for the third period or something. Like,
I
why
have a
not?
feeling he's going to get a game. I really do.
But like, when at this
Is this
point,
his
the
fourth
season's
year?
over. Let me
He's
look.
got to be
Third-
on his
third
third
year.
or fourth. Is
Junior,
it
maybe?
third?
Oh no, I think it is his 4th year.
Like,
Could
just
be his
put him
fourth
in.
year.
I don't think
Okay,
he's
here-
played
here-
1 minute.
Here's the quick soapbox I'm going to throw out there.
Here we go. Soapbox.
They've had some great goalies under Bob Motzko. They really have.
Yeah.
Including Justin Close, who came out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, and almost took him to a national championship, 3 Big Ten titles, all of that stuff that he did. I don't know if either of you knew this. Minnesota sports fans can tend to be a tad bit provincial.
Just a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
When you have Carson Musser, when you have Will Ingeman, when you have Cam Hendrickson, you have some of these really good goalies who are from Minnesota. When was the last time a Gopher? I mean, Jared Moe was there for 1 year.
Yeah, maybe.
He
Yeah,
actually played 1 year,
1
and then he
year.
sat 1 year and then transferred.
Yeah,
All of that. The fact that they haven't been able to find a homegrown goalie in a long time.
Do you think they'll
They
bring
just have to
Carter
wait for
Casey
Carter
in?
Casey.
Think they'll bring him
Yeah.
in next year?
I mean, I think they could.
They could, but
Especially
that'd
if
be
it,
really young, though.
Wow.
And
I
in
don't
this
know.
in this
That
transfer
kid's
portal,
he's just a baby.
in
Yeah,
the
he
transfer
is.
portal era,
He's probably listening right now, but that kid's just too young. He needs another year, I think, of juniors.
Because
Yeah.
is this his senior or his junior season?
He would be a senior in high school, but
Senior,
he's
okay.
a 07 birth year, so a
Yeah.
lot of those kids are already out of high school. So he's kind of a tweener.
Yeah.
I still think I'm kind of a don't hurry up and wait kind of person. Let's not rush it too
Yeah.
much. I would like to see him play another year of juniors.
just a thought.
Yeah.
I agree. I think
And
it's
none of the, yeah, I'm not saying any of this is Nathan Aries' fault
No.
or Luca DePasquo's fault or,
No.
whoever it happens to be. I'm just wondering why, in their zeal to recruit the best players in the state of Minnesota, that hasn't included a goalie in a long time.
I think it's a really good take.
Was DePasquo a senior as well?
I believe he is.
Because if he is, Weiss is, even though he hasn't played, and Aries a junior, they're going to need a lot of goalies coming up here then. Unless
Yeah.
Weiss is staying because he's played 0 minutes. But that's
Right.
my thing. Just throw him in for a few minutes. Why not? He's played 0 minutes. Let him play a couple if the game's over. Who
I know.
cares?
Let the kid play. I agree.
The game's over. I don't know, but I don't.
I mean,
really
Matt
have anything
Robson,
else.
good goalie from Toronto. They've had goalies from all over recently, and again,
Never from here.
Maybe they're just gonna
nobody's
hit the
complaining
portal.
about what Justin Close did.
No.
Maybe they're just going to portal it up. I don't know.
Jared Moe, by the way, was a lefty. I always loved that about him.
That's the first thing I did when you said Jared Moe. I was like, I'll put my glove up like Jared Moe.
Yeah.
Quickly before I depart, I want to just sing my
Yeah, yeah.
praises. There's my call coming in. Sing my praises to Augustana. I mean, they have arrived.
Yes.
Yeah.
NPI 12.
They're in one of the polls. I saw them as 10 today.
Highest in CCHA.
Quick question. Pull up their schedule really quick. I know did they split with ASU or did they sweep ASU?
I think they swept ASU.
Okay, they sweep ASU, and I know they split with UMD, and they swept Colorado College. They're 5-1 against NCHC teams. Does this mean the CCHA gets 2 teams in?
I don't think so.
Look in your crystal ball. Look in your crystal ball.
They need the other ones to be more consistent. St. Thomas.
St. Thomas has
maybe,
a win over
and Minnesota
Providence,
State's been
right?
kind of cold to start.
St. Thomas has a win over Providence. I think what's their MPI?
14 and
See what I'm saying?
Mankato is 16. So
I
they're
think
all
I
hovering.
think they could get 2 teams, not 3.
Well, and
I
it's
think they
helping
get 2.
that all of Hockey East has sunk a lot the last few weeks. So
In the tubes,
that's helped them
down
a
the
lot,
tubes.
yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. All right, with that, I have to depart.
Okay.
Thank you. Ryan will step in for me. I will see you guys next week.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we still got plenty to talk about. We already talked about the Huskies. We talked about the
We're
Gophers.
rudderless now. We've got no Tony, but no, I think we can power through.
Well, speaking of the CCHA, things are interesting because we talked about Bemidji State. We know that they have good players. We know that they are capable of good things.
We were trying when we last left the Beavers. We were
Yeah.
trying to figure out who they were.
But
Well, what we've seen of who they are recently.
yeah, they had not a great weekend. They were swept by Michigan Tech, and they dropped 10 spots in the NPI to 38. And CCHA standings, they dropped to 6th. The top 6 in the CCHA standings are tight, so it's not like anything else is inevitable. But not great, and they haven't won a game now since November 22nd.
Penn State hadn't played a game since November 22nd. So, no, yeah, that's harsh. And
Yeah.
no shame in losing to Michigan Tech. That's a legit.
They are a quality team.
That's a legit good hockey team with good goaltending,
Yeah.
and I see they had CCHA Player of the Week, and good for them. Yeah, Beavers just have to, and I'm past saying they have to figure out who they are. They just have to figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean, because
yeah.
they've got some good elements in place. I mean, they're one of the rare teams that's beat Augustana twice this year.
Yeah.
And took them to overtime in another one. So it's like, I just don't understand this Beavers team.
Yeah, I don't know. They started out decent, and now their last few games, they've had 4 regulation losses. They've had an overtime loss and like 2 ties. So just lately, it's been kind of cold. And their power play, I think, over the weekend was like 1 for 11, which was not great. So
when you're
just
dropping 10 points in the
clicking.
NPI, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes it pretty clear. You're going to have to
Yeah.
win your conference tournament. And
well, that put them under 500. So
yeah,
rough.
ouch.
Augustana, though, we briefly talked about them. Good weekend. They sweep Northern Michigan like they're supposed to, but both shutouts, 2 shutouts for Josh Kotai. And I think I forgot who it was from, Mike McMahon, maybe? That his dad was the
His dad was
E-bug.
the E-bug for the Canucks.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So his kid is starring in college hockey, and the dad is thrown on the pads for Vancouver.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that there was like family hockey ties. That's awesome. I would have loved it then if he got to play it all, but that's super cool. But 2 shutouts for him. Couple Minnesotans scored, but their NPI is 12. They moved up 1 with the sweep, and they're tied for first in the CCHA. So Augustana looking good. Love it.
And I'll say this too about Garrett Raboin and his staff.
Yeah.
They're doing a nice job of recruiting Northern Minnesota. He's a Detroit Lakes guy, coached at St. Cloud those years, coached at Minnesota. He knows the territory. They're doing a really nice job of getting some good talent.
And speaking of that, they pick up a Bemidji player.
There we go.
Today as well, playing for Sioux Falls. So
Section 8's where it's at, man.
And before we keep on going, we'd like to thank the USHL who sponsors this show. We just mentioned Bemidji player Noah Manasau, I want to say is how you say his last name, committed to Augustana. So we always love to see our Minnesotan USHL guys announcing their commitments, and we love the USHL and the development that they provide their players. So thanks to the USHL for sponsoring this show, and we're going to have a new episode of the Junior Hockey Pod later this week. We got on some weird tangents last week, so if you're into that, go check it out.
I am a Junior Hockey Pod fan myself.
It gets a little weird, but in a fun way.
But I love it. I love it because
I want to bring back the North Iowa Huskies.
Iowa Huskies,
that was my favorite team from way back in the day. They played in Mason City. I don't know why. North Iowa,
yeah.
Absolutely.
It's great that we got boots on the ground with Drew Steele out in Madison.
Oh yeah,
so he's
Drew.
just got his stethoscope to the league, and so he goes on great tangents too.
Oh yeah,
so
got some great tidbits there, but we'll have another episode of that soon. So
Caleb Hiles playing in Madison, correct?
Yeah.
I interviewed him at World Juniors. Great kid, excited to. He and Will Zellers are already talking about all the fun stuff they're going to do at North Dakota next year. So yeah.
Well, thanks to the USHL for sponsoring this show, and we'll talk about APX a little later. But back into the hockey things, might as well talk about the other CCHA teams first. St. Thomas, 12-7-3. They only played one game this weekend against Mankato, so kind of combining those two. St. Thomas wins 4-2. St. Thomas actually had all 4 goals, I believe, in the second period, and 3 of them were less than a minute. So it just seemed like they just
quick
turned
strike
it on
offense,
really quick. This time we talk about their spinning wheel of goalies. Aaron Trotter in net for the dub. Very just random spin the wheel, I guess. But their NPI is 14, tied for first in the CCHA. And Minnesota State now 12-6-5. Their NPI is 16 now, so they're kind of falling below the cutoff, and their CCHA rank is 3.
Tommies are ranked 19th nationally. I saw in the polls that came out today.
Nice.
That's a big deal.
People are starting to become kind of aware of them, I think, a little bit. And they've had some good wins, too. We talk about the win over Providence.
I mean,
they swept St. Cloud.
Bigger picture, Tommies and Augustana, we brought them both up now, just how quickly this has happened.
Yeah.
And, granted, St. Thomas had an established D3 program, and a good school, all of that. Augustana, obviously a good school, but really starting Division I programs from scratch, and they're both bubble teams through the NCAA tournament. Crazy to think.
It's amazing how, at least for me, when I visit these buildings, I'm former hockey player. I mean, you just walk into these buildings and you're just amazed by what they immediately have to offer. Going to St. Thomas games in Mendota Heights, it just didn't have that shiny new D1 program feel to it. So
Arizona State played their first couple of years of Division I hockey at a place called Oceanside Arena.
Oh wow, that
greatest name ever for an arena in Arizona.
Yeah,
that's
not by the ocean.
Former Coyotes practice rink, right?
It was a Coyotes practice rink. It was the second rink at Doug Woog Arena, basically. I mean, like 3 rows of bleachers on one side. They put some temporary bleachers up on one end.
Ceilings are yay high.
Yeah. Ceilings are yay high. The press box, and I'm using finger quotes, they literally put like a couple sheets of plywood over one of the benches.
Oh, no.
And you literally, the bench was right there, so you could hear absolutely everything going on. So I'm just saying, from those kind of humble beginnings, and Arizona State has the name brand. They're a team that you see on TV on Saturdays. I get that, but from St. Thomas, from what they did, and then Augustana building that amazing new building, it's really cool to see that commitment to college hockey and to see it pay off that quickly.
It is. I talked to other tangent YHH, Teddy Lechner, who is a commit to Augustana. Shout out APX, right?
APX, shout out Teddy Lechner.
Great family. Lechners are great people, but I just talked to him. I wasn't recording or anything, and I straight up said, "Why Augustana?" And he said he wanted to be a part of something new and be a part of the new history. And I was like, and he goes, "Well, obviously I went on the tour, and it was kind of like it sold itself."
I've made this point before too. All these great Catholic schools that have college hockey.
Yep.
Growing up Lutheran, kind of cool to see a Lutheran school finally.
Yeah, I didn't know that until a few years ago.
Making a big
cool.
splash. I mean, you think of Boston College and Notre Dame and St. Thomas, and all of these fantastic higher education institutions that are Catholic based. Well, now we've got a good Lutheran kid wants to go to a Lutheran school. Now you can play hockey there. Good for you.
Yeah. kind of cool.
Very cool.
Kind of circling back to the NCHC, North Dakota 16-4. They split with CC. It's an overtime loss and then a regulation win. I still am not very high on CC, but CC is just, I don't know, a weird team. They had an overtime game winner by Blaise Savoy, and Caden Mberico had a big night, 37 saves, so obviously that was a big part of it. And then Saturday, CC had an early lead, but North Dakota went on to score 5 straight. Bennett Mollick's first goal for North Dakota after a few years, so good for him. And they actually pulled Caden Mberico on Saturday, which is weird after like Friday, and then they brought in freshman Jackson Unger. So I'm not sure if that's just because there was already a couple goals scored and they wanted to get him some action or what, because I didn't watch these games, but kind of interesting.
Of the teams fighting to get into the top half of the NCHC, CC is one that I would say, they have Caden Mberico. You're always going to be in a game.
Yeah.
When you have a
I'm
goalie
never
of
super
that
impressed,
caliber.
but they always are able to pull out a couple of interesting like overtime wins, like this one.
And let's face it, even if you're at home in the playoffs and
Yeah.
you've got CC coming to town, that's a goal you don't want to see coming into your building.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you just don't know in a short series like that what's going to happen when you have just really good goaltending.
So North Dakota, no change. They're still number 2 in the NPI and number 1 in the NCHC, and they're kind of starting to pull away in the NCHC as well for the Penrose. They're ahead of Denver by 5 points now, so starting to pull away. And last but certainly not least, we already brushed on it, Minnesota Duluth 16-6, sweep Lindenwood 6-3 and 8-4, pretty high-scoring games. 6 first-period goals on Friday.
Crazy.
I feel like you never see that. It was 4-2 after 1. That must have been a entertaining game to go to. You go and you're like, oh my.
And I'll tell you, the video I saw, the crowds were not great there. So come on, Bulldog
that's
fans,
wild.
come out and watch, support your team.
I
know
love weird games like that.
you don't know who Lindenwood is. I get that. They're
School's
relatively
still
new.
out, technically.
Probably.
Oh,
J
yeah, I
term,
guess
maybe?
maybe.
J term?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Max Plant is okay, by the way.
Yeah.
Closure on an anecdote from last
Everyone-
week.
everyone can
We
take
were
a breath.
terrified
Take a breath.
that Max Plant was going to be out, and he's good. So
Yeah, I mean, it's the first game, Shagaby and Hansen both had 3 assists. Saturday, Shagaby had 4 points. Max Plant had 4 points. Aaron Pionk had 3 points. So high-scoring games, but they pull out the sweep. Interesting to note, Clayton Knapp, who was at UMD, was in goal for Lindenwood on Friday, so that's kind of fun. And then for the Bulldogs, Ethan Dahlmeyer actually played Saturday. He's a Minnesotan. Where did he play? Lakeville? One of the Lakevilles? I don't remember. But he's a Minnesotan, so cool to see him get a couple minutes.
good news, bad news for UMD. By the way, we may have
Yeah.
mentioned this. Adam Gajan, their regular goalie. Good news is he made the Slovakian Olympic
Which
team.
is super cool.
The bad news is he made the Slovakian Olympic team.
Yes.
So they're going to lose their goalie, essentially, their top goalie for,
Yeah.
a month?
Well, maybe that's why they got Dahlmeyer some minutes, is
Yeah.
to be like, we might need to
In
test
the
out our
midst of that
options.
gauntlet of a schedule we talked about, they're going to,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you won't have your top goalie
That's
during
tough.
that. So,
He's,
yeah.
Lakeville South.
Lakeville South. I was going to say it's one of them.
St. Cloud Norseman, so that's why.
Yeah,
Sure.
I've watched him with the Norsemen, but Minnesota Duluth.
I'm sure that was part of it, though. Get him some minutes and get him a little
Yeah.
more comfortable because he's a guy you're
Maybe play
probably
some
going to
other
have to
ones.
rely on during this Olympic stage.
But NPI, they're 4. NCHC standings, they're 4. Again, the NCHC is kind of a jumble right now in the middle, so anybody can move up or down.
Yep.
Before we keep moving on, a couple notables. APX, thanks for sponsoring the show. I brought out some cool of our new merch. Shout out.
Shout
I
out
love these new
APX.
hats and beanies. Thanks for sponsoring the show. If you're listening to this college pod, I just wrote up a story today on Owen Korkish, Minnesotan from Cottage Grove, committed to St. Thomas. So talk to him. And I think I'm talking to Trey Peck tomorrow or Wednesday. So a couple cool stories coming out in the future. Go check us out, apx-hockey.com, for your training and development needs. Or if you need an awesome advisor, we got you covered. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Some other notable game scores that I saw. Western Michigan sweeps Denver. That's big for them because obviously Denver's good, so nice sweep for them and a lot of conference points.
And if you're a fan of any other team in the NCHC, you do not want the Broncos getting hot at this time of year. 'Cause, man, we saw
Everyone's
last
like,
year.
oh, gosh, here they come again.
And there again, with Hampton Soklinski,
Yeah.
there's never a game where you can say they don't have a chance
Yeah.
because, he's one of the best goalies
I'm
in the
not
country.
surprised. They just have a roster you look at, you're like, this is a.
Yep.
They got some good players on there, so I'm not surprised.
Yep.
A little surprising, we were really hot on Northeastern early on, but lately they have been not good. They dropped to 33 in the NPI over the past few weeks, lost 5 straight, so they were good, and lately just not killing it. So not sure what's up there,
We're
but
getting into that beanpot.
maybe
time
the
of year,
loss of
too.
Matthews Arena. I don't.
I saw.
Well,
I
maybe
mean,
that's
that's
also-
probably part of it. You don't have a home rink right now.
Yeah,
and
they're
you're-
playing on the road. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I saw a pretty funny Twitter interaction. There's obviously a lot of buzz around the Olympic facility and how they are pretty close to the deadline. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen the pictures, but the jumbotron is built for ants at the facility. It's the
Yeah.
smallest thing I've ever seen, and this picture was probably taken at a 0.5 aperture. But it was so funny. Somebody from Northeastern quoted the tweet and was like,
Oh,
"I have a massive video board that is available, already built." Just needs shipping. Please contact Northeastern Athletic Department, and we can get something to work.
I saw that. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
So I
awesome.
thought that was
So,
pretty funny.
I'm not sure what's up with them, but not looking so great right now. We don't have nearly as many departures or additions as last week, but a couple notable. One of the players for Quinnipiac, Drew Hockley, has left for the Q. He's one of those weird players that joined halfway through the year last year and then now is leaving halfway through the season this year. So balances out to about 1 year of college hockey, but he had no points in 9 games, so I'm not that surprised.
Your last name's Hockley. I mean, come on, that's a great name.
Yeah. Mid-season additions, Michigan adds Kason Musket to their roster from the USHL. He's actually from Louisiana. Don't see
Sure.
too many
Yep.
college hockey
Interesting.
players. Love it. Providence adds a goalie from the ECHL after Philip Svedback is injured. I think we mentioned on the show last week. He's a guy who's been playing in the ECHL and has AHL games under his belt.
Dude.
I believe his name's Michael Simpson, if I'm remembering correctly. But that's obviously going to be big since I think their starter's out for a while, I'd assume. That's probably why they added someone. Injury notes. This was a big one that went viral. Minnesotan Danny Nelson. A lot of people were ripping on him this week because he kind of like fell and was sliding and slid into Michigan's star goalie, Jack Ivankovic. And now it sounds like he's injured for possibly the rest of the season. If you're a Wolverines fan, that
That's a huge
sucks.
loss because I mean we've joked about it all season. Number 1 ranked team in
Yeah.
the country, and the one thing Michigan hasn't had forever is consistent goaltending. They've had tons of great forwards. They've had stunningly good defense. Owen Power
Yeah.
going number 1 overall in the NHL draft. Quinn Hughes is apparently a pretty good player from
Yeah.
what I've read. Now to lose, to have good goaltending and then just have it taken away if it's true that he's going to be out for an extended period of time, that's a huge blow. They're coming to Minnesota this weekend. That's always a fun series. I think you'll get some pretty good crowds in Minneapolis, but yeah, what a factor that adds to it.
Yeah.
I've covered Danny Nelson. I've covered Notre Dame. He's not a dirty player. Notre Dame is not a dirty program. I think, this is one of those unfortunate things that happens in hockey. Michigan's fan base flying off the handle. I'm shocked. I
Yeah,
tell
a
you.
lot of people were very upset at Danny Nelson. And I watched the video, and again, I'm not really a fan of either team particularly. I didn't think it looked that dirty. Obviously, anytime someone runs into the goalie, it sucks. But, if you wipe out, it's not like he shoved him over. He just kind of like stuck his leg out and was sliding and ran into him. So I'd assume it's likely a knee or something like that. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I'm watching the video right now.
Yeah.
He kind of does that classic, leg kick shot, and he toe picks, and looks like it's a fresh period, so the ice is,
slippery,
perfectly slippery, and he couldn't really get back up to his skates, and looks like the goalie was doing a push off, and his knee was kind of in that crouch position right as he got hit. So
I mean, you hate to see that, and
Yeah.
in any case,
So that's going to be something to watch with Michigan going forward, especially because of their other two goalies. They have 37 minutes played this season. So I assume it's going to be Stephen Peck, who has the 37 minutes. Otherwise, they have Julian Molinaro, who I believe transferred from Northern Michigan last season.
Michigan's coming to Minneapolis, 3M Arena at
So-
Mariucci. I just hope the Nets stay on the pegs because we all know what a problem that has been. Eric Portillo especially, but for Michigan goalies generally, they just, for whatever reason, the net just keeps coming off anytime the puck is in your zone.
convenient.
Crazy the way that happened. And to the credit of the Big Ten referees, they finally did call it in a game. Said, okay, delay of game.
I
That's
heard
it.
so many people were ripping on the refs for that Michigan game this weekend. So I might have to go back and watch it. I didn't watch it, but a lot of Michigan fans were very mad at the refs this weekend. But maybe Michigan, Notre Dame, maybe that's just the both teams were just kind of intense this
Maybe.
weekend.
Maybe that's it.
The direct quote from the coach was, "He is going to be out for a long time."
Yeah, so I
So-
assume that means the rest of the
I do
season,
too.
if not
Yeah.
most of it.
That's
So,
really hard. Because
I don't know.
you talk about just a sudden impact kind of player and where
Yeah.
he's been coming over from the OHL and what he had done for the Wolverines so far. You hate to see that with anybody.
And then one other thing, I haven't seen any updates yet, but I know Cullen Potter and Bennett Shimmick were both also possibly hurt for ASU. A lot of injuries, actually. I saw a clip of Coach Powers talking, and it sounds like they kind of got the injury bug right now. It says Bennett Shimmick, John Waldron, Jack Beck, Lincoln Keene were all out this weekend, and Cullen Potter left the ice after taking a hit in one of the games. There was a clip from reporter Gabriela Chernoff on her Twitter page, so that's a huge blow if they lose any of those guys, because obviously Potter and Shimmick particularly are really, really good and were two of the top players in the nation. That would suck for them if now they're down like all these players all of a sudden.
So after just saying Notre Dame is not a dirty program,
Yeah.
let me just reverse the narrative. Email from the Big Ten that we got about an hour ago.
Okay.
1 game suspensions for freshman defenseman Caden Carlisle and junior defenseman Paul Fisher following the January 10th game at Michigan.
Okay.
Carlisle got a contact to the head major and a game misconduct, and Fisher received a cross-checking major and a game disqualification. So
Yeah.
1 game suspensions for each of them. So
Gotcha.
a little thin on the blue line for the Irish in the next
Interesting.
one. Yep.
And then Summit scorers, nothing too crazy this week. Wanted to shout out our own APX athlete and instructor, Cam Hendrickson, his first NCAA win in net this weekend. So shout out to him. That's super cool. For UConn, a few of the guys we don't see all the time on here. Finn Brink for Wisconsin had a goal. Bo Janzig for Air Force. Attila Lapai. Tori Lund, Bemidji State. Adam Marshall, Army. A lot of our usual suspects.
Attila
on
Lapai, by the way,
here.
I did a story about him when he committed. He was at Cretan.
He's got a great name.
Oh, just an unbelievable. And his, I can't remember him offhand, but all of his family has like really
Oh, yeah.
cool, unique
Sylvester.
names. Yeah. So
Love
good
it.
for them.
Otherwise, a lot of our usual suspects on here. I'm just kind of scrolling through this, trying to see who I can see on here. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I feel like we see Will Schumacher on here all the time now. And
Let me find the
Yeah.
stat, by the way. So keep talking. I got to
cool.
find an interesting note from last
Gents
weekend.
Richards, Vermont, both nights. It sounds like 3 over the weekend. Nice to see that. Max Strand, love to see it.
Former Mr. Hockey winner.
And then
Max
just while you're looking on there, a couple upcoming games. I'll just run through them quick. Bemidji State at St. Thomas. Augustana plays Ferris State at home. St. Cloud will play Minnesota Duluth at the Herb. That's always a well-attended series and a scrappy series. It always is, no matter
Absolutely.
what. Minnesota will play Michigan. We already mentioned that. North Dakota plays Denver. That's a big one. That'll be fun. And Minnesota State is at Michigan Tech. That's a big one there for Mankato if they want to kind of bump up the rankings and the conference standings as well. So a couple of really nice games on there, actually.
So not a lot of highlights for the Gophers last weekend
Yeah.
at Penn State. They get shut out one night. They lose 5-2 the other night. But here's the fun stat I'm going to point out.
Okay.
Second period goal by the Gophers to make it 3-2 briefly. Javon Moore scores his 5th goal as a freshman, assisted by Teddy Townsend and Mason Moe. All 3 of them freshmen. Somebody looked this up. I'm
Wow.
thinking Gopher Puck Live, maybe. The last all-freshman goal in Gopher history, Jimmy Snuggerud from Matthew Nyes and Logan Cooley. What did those guys wind up doing? Anybody
I don't.
hear where they are? Anyway, fun.
I think they started an insurance
Are
firm
they in the
together.
ECHL?
That's actually not correct. It wouldn't have been Nyes because he was a sophomore when the other 2 were
Oh.
freshmen. But anyway, it was
Still,
it was,
that class
it was
was pretty ridiculous.
some combination of Snuggerud, Cooley, and
Yeah.
another, I'm sure, pretty good freshman.
Well, that's pretty much all the notes I had for this week, but a couple of great games coming up this weekend. Pretty much all of them actually could be good, except I don't really expect Augustana Ferris State, but you never know.
North Dakota Denver is intriguing.
Yeah, North Dakota
especially
Denver will be
coming
good.
off a pair of losses. You wonder how quickly desperate David Carl and his crew are getting, and if you're looking to get back on the win streak.
And I believe that's in Grand Forks as well, I think.
And you brought it up, Bemidji. Let's
Yep.
get something going here, huh?
Bemidji St. Thomas, yeah.
I will be there.
Minnesota
I will be
schools.
there on
You'll be
Friday.
there?
On Friday, I will be there
Sweet.
covering the game, getting some photos of Bemidji since they're in town.
A
So
lot of good Beaver alumni here in the Twin Cities. They should have a decent crowd at Anderson Arena, you would think.
That's a lot of games in the area. I think all of these games are at home except Mankato's away. Otherwise, I think all the other games are at home for the teams we cover. So a lot of games being played in the area. So.
Ironically, there is a YHH crew that is going up to Bemidji this weekend.
All
But
right,
for,
sure. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
but for a Friday night ice high school for the girls.
Oh sure.
But,
There could be a women's game up there this weekend. I don't know.
But I am sticking around because we need to cover some of the college games as well. And ironically, those
Gotcha.
two weekends are the same weekend this year.
Cool. Well, I don't think I have much else then from this past weekend.
Getting closer to Hockey Day, Minnesota. It's coming up quick.
Yep.
Iowa Wild, I
Iowa
saw.
Wild playing an outdoor game against Milwaukee Admirals, I believe.
I think it's Milwaukee.
This is a naive question. Is there a winter classic or any outdoor annual thing in the AHL?
There's not. I don't think there's an annual thing, but they have definitely played games. Couple years ago, the Cleveland Browns Stadium put a rink in there, and like Ohio State played Michigan, and then I know the Cleveland Monsters or the Lake Erie Monsters, whatever they were called, the AHL team there, played a game as well. I don't think it's like an annual deal.
Right. It's not sponsored or something.
You know, and some of these. I don't want to get off on a rant, but
yes.
this year's Winter Classic was just silly. I mean, just
Oh my
knock it
gosh.
off. I know it was
Oh my
cool and
gosh.
gimmicky that you got to
Oh
play a
my
game in
gosh.
Florida. Don't do that again. That's
I saw the Utah announcement. I'm
Yep.
excited for that.
Utah's going to be
Yeah.
cool. Buffalo's hosting the draft. That was the other big NHL news. But you know, like they've tried to do outdoor games. I remember Omaha has like a minor league baseball stadium. Well, they
Okay.
had Omaha play North Dakota.
Sure.
And they got, 8,000 fans there. Well, okay, that's 3,000 less than you would get just a regular
Yeah,
North
yeah,
Dakota
yep.
home game.
Yep.
The gimmick has run its course. I like the Winter Classic. It's cool.
Outdoor games sound cool until you go to one and it's like -10 outside and it's windy. I always like,
I think we got
the
some
concept of it, but
NHL. Ironically, I think when it first started, they got some really, really good ones right out of the
Yep.
gate, and the bar was set extremely high. And I think it's hard to just top it every year. And
Bob Motzko had the great line when he was coaching, I think, the 2018 World Junior team in Buffalo, won the bronze, I want to say. I'm going to say bronze, I think.
okay.
They played an outdoor game against Canada at the Buffalo Bills Stadium. Got, 70,000 there or something. Unbelievable. Really cold, snow, all of that stuff.
all the
And-
Buffalo Bills jerseys.
Yep.
Those are cool.
And Motzko's great line was, he said, outdoor games are really cool, and I hope I've coached in my last one.
Yeah.
Like, it's run its course. Let's
That's
just-
awesome.
anyway.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much all we had for this week's show. So next week we'll see if we can get a normal-ish show. I don't know. It might be hard going forward because we all have crazy schedules.
Might be
over the
virtual,
next
might be some
few
virtual, but we'll definitely find
months. But we'll see. It's
I will
already-
be in Canada next week at this
Oh,
time.
you'll be in
so-
Canada.
awesome.
Okay. Jess
Okay.
will be in Canada.
So we'll have an international show next week.
Oh,
Oh, international.
Love it.
Nice.
I'll be calling in from Toronto. So-
Love it.
Sweet.
Yep.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in to This Week in College Hockey. For myself, for Jess, and for Ryan and Tony. Thanks so much for tuning in.